Hey, today we're going to learn how to successfully create a budget. You know that word budget? You speak it and everyone's like, oh, whatever. Rolls their eyes, doesn't work, wasted time, boring. Okay, so let me give you my story and how I ended up here. And how I ended up actually starting the process of budgeting because it was a crisis. I went to university and the deal was my parents would pay for my university fees and that was it. Upkeep and my social life and everything else that I needed after that was me to take care of. And that was the deal with my parents. In fact, they said, once you go to school, we'll take care of your 6 months expenses because you need to settle down, figure things out, find your way around, and then within 6 months really you should have figured stuff out, and after that you're on your own, but we'll take care of your tuition. So I was like, yeah, cool. And so I started and I ate out every night because guess what, when I was younger my siblings did all the cooking, but I couldn't have been bothered, and so I just didn't bother cooking. I would go out and eat a burger or chips or whatever it was that I was eating out. And I was in school with some friends who were a little loaded than I was, and so I joined them. When the 6 months were up, I hadn't had a job, and so I didn't have an income, and I had my money just slowly running out. And this one day, I remember, in fact, it had been a whole week. And this whole week, I kept going to so-and-so's apartment, because we had student housing where there were 6 students in each house. And people used to cook, and I was in school with Asians, particularly from China and Singapore, and they cook like mad. And so I'd go to the apartment and say, hi, how are you guys doing? And I'd stick around, and before you know it, they're like Africans. I'd have food on my plate, and I'd be eating. By this day, I had been around for like over a week, and so I was even embarrassed about going to these other people's apartments to eat. And so I was starving. I hadn't had lunch. My last meal was breakfast, and it was the last slice of bread I had. And I'm being serious. This is a true story. Hadn't had lunch. It was now dinner time. It was 9 p.m. and I couldn't sleep. And I was like, how am I going to hack this? So I went into my kitchen. There were 6 of us in this house. And I opened the fridge, and obviously I can't take someone else's food because I'll get into trouble. And I looked at what I had, and I had nothing, and I just had a tea bag, and I put it in a cup and put hot water, and I started sipping, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And so I walked to the bin, and I don't know why I walked to the bin, but I saw this bin, and there was a slightly over toasted slice of bread. And I picked it up. I took a knife, I scraped off the dark sides that were burnt, and I ate it, and I slept. That night changed my life. I became a chokora. I became a chokora that night, and I don't know, it just did something for me. And the feeling that I felt was so, I don't even know. I just thought I just never wanted to feel this way again. And so I said, okay, I'm going to look for a job. And so I did. And I found a job. I did all kinds of jobs, including jumping on and off trucks, delivering milk. Yeah, me. Delivering milk and juices to people's houses. I did that. And do you know, I slowly started to figure out, okay, this is the amount of money I have in a month, and it has to stretch for the rest of the month because guess what? I don't have the option of calling my parents to sort me out. And it taught me a couple of things. I also took time to read and figure out, okay, so this money thing, how is it managed? How people actually do this? And one of the things that I learned throughout this process is that we budget wrong. Actually, you find most people sit down and start writing, okay, food will cost me X amount of money, transport, and they write it down and hope to live by this budget. It doesn't work that way. The way that I found it working the best is if you track your expenses first and say, for the next 3 months, what I am going to do is I'm just going to write down whatever I am spending. I'm not going to change my spending habits. I'll just write it down. I'm spending X on newspapers, and it's on everything. Newspapers, parking, tickets to wherever, I'm going to the movies, I'm having lunch with so-and-so, I'm buying a dress, I'm buying clothes, I'm buying trousers, whatever it is. Write it down. And every week, compile it so that you don't end up having any miscellaneous items on your budget because there's nothing miscellaneous. Everything goes somewhere. And so once you have this expense tracker down, you'll be able to actually see, okay, so this is actually in reality where my money is going. Only then can you actually see where your money is overspent or not. And then if you need to make adjustments to afford anything that you want to do, then it becomes easy. Then you can say, okay, you know what, I've been eating out for every day for the last I don't know how many days, and surely I can just eat out once a week, or I can reduce the amount of times I'm going to the movies, or instead of throwing 10 rounds for my guys, I'll throw 1 round in the month. And you find a way of cutting down these expenses, and it's like magic. Before you know it, you'll be able to actually start to save money, but not from a painful perspective or in a suffering way, but rather in a way that is realistic and easy. And so I want to give you a money-wise challenge to sit down from today, buy a little diary or a little exercise book and a pen, put it in your bag if you're a guy, use your phone to take down whatever it is that you're spending your money on, and every end of the week sit down, either put it on your laptop, put it on a piece of paper, doesn't matter, and just try and figure out where is your money going. Tell me about it. How is it going? I'd like to hear about it. I'd love to encourage you. My contact details are below. This is Moneywise with Rina Hicks, where we create, preserve, and grow wealth.